Without a doubt, Grim Reminders is one of the strongest KeyForge sets to date. Many would say it has a pretty distinct power creep compared to past sets. This has been a source of discussion and debate seen all across the KeyForge community, and much of it centers around two cards present in the newest house, Geistoid, Ectocharge and Winds of Death. Ectocharge has an interesting backstory. It was first printed as an anomaly in Winds of Exchange, where it read, play, forge a key at plus 20 current cost, reduced by 1 for each card in your discard pile, to a minimum of 6. If you do, purge Ectocharge. In this state, you had to spend at least 6 Ember to forge with Ectocharge, even if you had 21 or more cards in your discard pile. Then, oddly enough, when Grim Reminders was released and Ectocharge was revealed to be a Geistoid card at common, that minimum requirement was removed, meaning you could now forge for free. If you had 25, 26 or more cards in your discard pile at the time you played Ectocharge, and keys cost the usual 6, you would forge a key for free. Right away, when people saw this change and began playing with it, as game-found shipments arrived and pre-release events took place, players generally began feeling that it was way overpowered. It had ridiculous amounts of support, seen in cards like Boo, Holiday Festival, Junk Restoration, UFO, Technoarachnophobia, and Futures Past. Even if Ecto ended up getting discarded as a result of one of these effects, you could easily get it back with something like In Here Somewhere or Target Unixidal. Lots of decks with Ectocharge, especially many of the stronger ones, essentially only had to play to 2 keys. It was almost becoming something of an archetype. Decks that rushed to their first 2 keys, milling their deck extremely quickly in the process, then hitting Ectocharge for their final key. Countless games have been determined by players literally just playing the game, drawing Ecto near the end of the deck or holding it until then finishing the game with an incredibly easy free key, or close to it. I took first place at a pre-release event, winning 3 out of my 4 games by stashing away Ectocharge in the archives, then bringing it out to forge for free at the end. It got me second place at an Archon Store Championship the very next weekend, and I know there are many other stories out there of players finding huge success with their Ectos, or perhaps losing to it with no possible response. There have been many ambassadors advocating and pushing Ghost Galaxy to errata Ectocharge and revert it back to its original version seen in Winds of Exchange. Not everyone has shared this sentiment, even I've been on the fence about whether I wanted to see it get changed or not, but the debates have been long and frequent as of late. And on March 22nd, the article finally dropped that would decide yay or nay to the clamoring of the people. And sure enough, Ectocharge has been errated back to its original version. No more free keys with Ecto, no more turn 1 Futures Past into Ecto, nothing like that. Honestly, I do think this is a more fair and balanced version of the card. The previous version led to far more feels-bad moments than I think was initially expected, and does away with at least some of the degeneracy that was so prevalent before. It's still a very powerful card. All you need is 20 cards in the discard pile and 6 Ember in your pool to successfully forge with it, but at least high-level Grim Reminders is no longer mostly 2 key games. The other card that has been the source of much controversy is that of Winds of Death, boasting one of the most insane effects in the history of the game. It reads play. Each player archives each creature from their discard pile. Destroy each creature. Now, just destroying each creature without any chains or drawback is ridiculous enough. There's always been some sort of repercussion for wiping the entire board, at least at common. I think what was intended to be the drawback was the fact that each player archives each creature from their discard pile, which means the opponent gets to do this as well, but I think what was meant to be the drawback or balancing feature of this card turned out to just be even more upside. Again, the support for this common card was bonkers. A couple boos into Winds of Death turn 1, and you could archive upwards of 8, 10 creatures from your discard pile while your opponent sits there and does nothing, reaps no benefits. Futures Past into Winds of Death, archive half your discard pile. Simply time it right in any capacity and you're laughing. Now, it's one thing to then be able to drop a huge board afterwards, but it's the fact that Key Abduction is in the set as well that's pushed people over the edge. With Target Unixidal, no less. And In Here Somewhere. And Nepenthe Seed. And Mehmet. Pick up your huge archives for a massive hand and drop the Key Abduction for a free key. Archive it with Unixidal, forge for free again next turn. And that's just one way among many others that Winds of Death can be abused, but that's one of the more notable ones. Winds of Death did not get errated in this most recent rulebook update. Where Ectocharge did get hit with the old switcheroo, Winds of Death remained intact and is still as strong as ever, which I personally don't mind all that much. A number of other smaller changes were made as well, but these were the 2 cards that players were most concerned about. With organized play for the 2024 season starting up again in just a couple weeks, these changes were certainly made in anticipation of that. Ghost Galaxy has been listening in on the discussion, and they've made their move before the first Vault Doer of the season after internalizing the feedback they've been receiving. Should they have waited to announce the errata, or to even consider errataing anything until more data had been collected from official organized play, to see if Ectocharge was really as big of a problem as people thought? Possibly, but as of right now, the decision has been made, and we'll just have to see what actions are taken from here. Beyond even Ectocharge and Winds of Death, there does seem to be a pretty noticeable power creep present in the set. In fact, as long as KeyForge has resided with Ghost Galaxy, with the release of Winds of Exchange, players have claimed to witness tangible power creep. Powerful cards from the past are seemingly receiving what could only be described as a power boost. Exhume into BR Geist, Witch of the Dawn into Retro Technician Lee, Igor into Junk Restoration, Dust Pixie into Sandworm. Winds of Death is still insane. Beanstalk and Witch Queen can be broken with the right accompanying suites. Key Abduction has ludicrous amounts of support. Free keys are firing off every which way. 30 power creatures with steel abilities enter play with ease, and decks are just moving faster than ever, in more ways than one. And I, personally, am all for it. The last thing I want to see is another case of Age of Ascension or Dark Tidings, and if this new era of KeyForge under Ghost Galaxy's flag leads the game in a speedier, more powerful direction, where stronger decks are opened more commonly, then I'm all in. I understand that's not the direction everyone wants the game to go, but if the next set, Ember Skies, offers just as much power as Grim Reminders, then I'll be one happy camper, and I know there are others who feel the same. Too much power creep can undoubtedly be a bad and unhealthy thing for the game, but if we're in the process of ascending to a new power plateau, and erratas and changes are made where they need to be made, then in my personal opinion, I think the future of KeyForge can be a bright one. However, only time will tell. These are interesting times for the game of KeyForge, and I hope just as much as anyone that it will reach higher success and that the game will grow. Please let me know what you guys think of the set and of the new erratas and updates in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on all this. This is certainly a topic prime for discussion. I'll also leave a link to the update article in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. See you later.